Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. 3, 2, 1. Action! Hey guys, it's Laura and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing good, and even if you're not doing good, I don't want you to lose hope. Stay positive, have faith, because there is always a way out no matter the situation you are finding yourself in. So your girl has been doing good, always smiling. It is important for your health and it avoids wrinkles, so remember to smile. Welcome back if you are an old subscriber, and if you're a new subscriber, you are welcome. This is your home. I have so many videos, and here we talk about traveling all over the globe, but we started in China. Let's see how it goes. We talk about natural hair, and I have a video, guys. You have to make it a 1 million views video on what Chinese think of my natural hair. So please let's make it a 1 million views. We also talk about the word of God, and we share inspiration, so I'm sure you're gonna like the content of this channel. In today's video, we are talking about offense and forgiveness. I want you to really, share this video and let me know down below in the comment section what you think, if you have been blessed, because it's very important for me. So many people are living in bondage because of lack of forgiveness, and we are here today with you to share something that we hope will help you. And I'm not going to be alone, as I'm receiving someone special. I call him Father Abraham, but he doesn't like that, so I will allow him to introduce himself. As I was saying, I'm receiving someone special. He's amazing, he's full of wisdom. Sometimes he says that he is shy, but I don't believe him.
It's not that sometimes I say I am actually shy. Please, I'm a very shy person.
So please, can you just introduce yourself to our viewers?
Okay, so my name is AB and MICHEAL, and I'm a third-year medical student of Xoxo Medical University in China. So that's all about me. That's all about
you. Yes. And I heard people calling you AB sometimes.
Oh yes, that's the name, AB. I'm so used to being called AB. If you mention Abraham, it will take a while for me to react.
That's why I call you for that.
No, I'm not a father yet, please.
So AB, thank you for joining us today for this video.
I should be saying thank you for having.
So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, today we're talking about offenses and forgiveness.
Yeah, I love that topic actually, and I hope someone will be blessed. Please guys, share this video, let it help someone, encourage someone.
Have you been offended before?
Of course, everyone. I mean everyone, even you. Haven't you?
No, I have not been offended.
No, I don't believe that.
I've been offended so many times.
I believe that. So what is offense? Like, what is it?
I like to keep things very simple. So an offense basically is something that displeases you, or when somebody does something that you don't like. So usually for every person we have things that we value or things that are important to us. So it forms a boundary, or it forms a zone within which we like to move and play in. So when somebody crosses that borderline, the very first thing we do is that our alarms start going off. So we have what we call offenses. That is where we become triggered at what somebody has said or somebody has done.
Okay, I see. So does that mean that offense can be influenced also by your environment, the way you grew up, like your personality, your character?
I mean, the things that we grew up with shape us. So everything that, for me, I see it like this, that growing up, our family, our parents, our friends, everything becomes the foundation upon which God molds everything about us to suit this personality that people see now. So everything that has happened to you before is really important for who you are right now and your whole general outlook to life.
So it means everyone, as I was saying from the beginning, everyone can be offended, right?
Definitely. Everybody values something, unless you don't value something. If you don't value anything, you can't be offended. But so long as you value something and somebody touches it. For example, my mom loves me so much. I'm the last born, by the way. Shout outs to all the last ones.
Really?
The ones whom the rest of the family don't like. The rest of our other siblings never like us.
Okay.
But then if you touch me, my mom will have it very difficult to be a Christian on that day.
Okay.
But because she values me. But if somebody doesn't value anything, you touch it, they really don't care. But then so far as you value something, when somebody touches it, you are tempted to always react.
Is there an intensity at which people take offense? Like,
yeah, I would say that the intensity of the offense is dependent on how important that thing the person touches is to you.
Okay.
So if that thing is not important to you, you really wouldn't mind. But then if it is very important to you, your reaction will determine the degree to which that happens. For example, I have a friend and you can insult him, say whatever you want, and he doesn't care. But the very moment you mention his mom,
yeah, you're in trouble.
Oh no, that one you would have issues with him. You see, because he grew up without a dad, so it's just the mom. So all throughout his life, he's just known his mom. So if you touch his mom, he has issues, major issues with you. But then outside of that, you can say anything, do anything, and he really doesn't care.
Wow.
Okay, so but then he will take offense at the slightest thing, even when it's his mom. Yeah.
But you know, the offender does not necessarily know you. Like, it might be someone in the supermarket, in the street. It might not necessarily be your friend, and even at times it can be your friend, but your friend doesn't know that this thing, the person might consider that it's little, but for you, you take it as like someone wants to kill you.
I mean, the issue is that when somebody does something that you don't like,
yes,
I think it's just appropriate for you to walk up to the person and make the person know that what the person has done isn't right and you don't like it. But then the only problem with that is that most people try to trivialize what is important to you, so you start getting more agitated by what they have done. Or secondly, in your communication to the other person, don't try and shame the other person or make the other person look like they are so dumb for doing what they are doing, because they may not also know that what they are doing is triggering something in you. So it depends. It can go either way. So you as the one being offended has a responsibility, and then the one who has offended you also has a responsibility, and the two of you need to be able to coexist together, because after all, we are all here to love ourselves, and you can't do without any human being. We need ourselves to survive.
Yeah. So that brings in forgiveness.
Oh, definitely. For forgiveness is simply letting go, but we will forgive, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we will forget what has happened.
No. Can you explain that?
So your brain functions like a recorder.
Okay.
So everything that has gone through your eye or everything that you have experienced before, it's stored up there in your brain somewhere. So somebody has done something to you. Now at the point the person does it, it becomes a wound.
Yes. That's
okay.
True.
So
that's
it becomes a wound. But then after you forgive and you let it go, it becomes a scar.
Wow. Wow.
You see?
Wow.
So you would see a wound and it would hurt. But then after it heals, it becomes a scar.
Yes.
Now when you see the scar, you remember the situation.
Exactly.
But then it doesn't mean that all of those emotions you had, for example, where your heart is pumping and you have this burning sensation in your... I mean, allow us. What can we do? We are good students.
Yes, I can see.
aside from those signs and all of those things, you would necessarily not react in that particular way, but then you would remember that, oh, on this day, Commander did such and such and such and such. Okay, so now that becomes a wound. But then when it heals, after I have talked to you, I've told you how I feel about it, and then you also respond, you're like, oh, I didn't know that, you know, this thing meant, you know, we have all of that discussion and everything, and then we make peace. You know, from there now, it becomes better for us to now be even better friends than we were before, because now you know something about me that you didn't know before. So then now after that has healed, it now becomes a scar, and then now I can show somebody my scar and tell the person that, oh, you know, I used to be like this, or this and this and this used to happen, but then now it's no longer there, and then it can even serve as a platform to help somebody else.
Oh, okay, I see. I want to know about forgiveness. Is it a decision that you have to make, or like, okay, I decide to, or it just happened? Like, how does it start?
I mean, I don't think it will just happen. I think it has to be a decision you would have to make intentionally and purposefully make that decision. Because when some of those things happen, or when somebody does something to you that you don't like, if you don't make the decision to forgive the person, what happens is that you start going through a whole cycle of having to remember, and then it puts a toll on your body. And I told you that in your body you have hormones, so I'll bring medicine. You have, for example, you may have something like adrenaline being secreted in your body. So when adrenaline is secreted in your body, it's responsible for your flight or fight mode. Okay, so you're either ready to run or you're ready to really fight and engage. So when that happens, those hormones, when they are released in your body, it takes a long time for your body to clear it out. So if every time you see somebody you are offended, and then you have those being secreted in your body, it can make you sick. You would fall sick. That's why people who usually take offense a lot, they will have hypertension. Hypertension is one of the very common diseases that somebody will have. So you can fall sick, but then you have to make it intentional, that I intentionally let go. And if it helps you by talking to the person, go talk to the person. Okay, but then know what to say to the person.
Communication,
really effective and really important.
That's true.
Because what communicates something serious to you may not communicate the same thing to me. So as a person, you also need to know who you are talking to and how to communicate to the person too.
The how is very important.
You know, growing up, it's funny because there were times my mom won't say anything, but then she gives you one look.
I know that look.
You see, and it threatens your whole existence. You just know. She hasn't said anything, but you just know that this I shouldn't do. You know, so the how we communicate to people is also very important. Okay, and that is something that we have to come to learn as individuals or as people, because you need those skills to be able to know when something is important to somebody or when it is not. For example, one of the common social skills or common soft skills somebody should have is your ability to be able to see when somebody is getting annoyed. Usually there's this thing they have right there in between their eyebrows somewhere. No, that I don't know if I'm doing it right.
Yes, I sometimes have it. Yes,
exactly. Now that is more like a frown. It means that you are touching a particular nerve of the person. Okay. So there are all of those skills. Another very common one is when somebody is surprised. When somebody is surprised, you have you seen that before? That is more like a universal language for surprise. So there are certain universal languages that, irrespective of your race, color, gender, whatever, we all have it as humans. So these soft skills are things that we need to learn day in day out as we interact with humans. And it's problematic dealing with human beings because somebody doesn't think the way you do. Somebody doesn't process things like the way you do. They don't appreciate the same things you appreciate.
They were not exposed to the same thing.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, what becomes important to you may not be important to the other person too. Okay, that is why we need to allow room for people to be able to function, and then we need to be able to coexist together. Because if it's just you in the world, imagine how the world would be like. You alone, walking all the lands of the world, just you alone. No, that is not possible.
That's true.
It makes life boring.
AB, in the decision making, is it irrespective of the fact that the person comes and apologizes, or you just have to, whether the person apologizes or not, you have to decide to?
For that, I can't really speak for everyone, but then I'll use myself as an example. Now, if somebody does something I don't like, the very first thing I usually do is I do a self-check. Because I try to look at the fact that, did I also contribute anything to the whole situation and how it went down? Okay, that's one of the things most people don't do. Because most people are usually, I mean, I used to be like that before. I'm usually like, he was wrong and I am always right. You see? But then as I got to grow day in day out, I get to realize that there was my contribution to it. So I tried to find out what my contribution was and if I could have done it better. Because sometimes, probably maybe the person wasn't even ticked off. Just because I did something, I said something, that initiated the whole thing, and then everything blew up. So I tried to look at myself first, and then I'm like, okay, now I have to decide to let it go. And when I let it go, then now I think about the other person and how I can get that relationship back and how the two of us can rebond again. How I have to even say it, depending on who it is. Because forgiveness wasn't something that came really easy to me. because I could hold a grudge. I don't know how my mind works, but I tend to remember everything. You know, I never remember anything good the person has done. I always remember the bad things, and it really stays. You know, but then it had to be something that I had to practice doing over and over and over and over again, and then with time it just became natural to me to just do it. So it has to be a conscious effort and a conscious decision to do it. And then probably I would say that get instruments or guides or things that help you to be able to get to understand yourself better and how to communicate with people and how to let go. So for example, if you're a Christian, I'll say that go to the Bible, go look for scriptures that talk about forgiveness, study about it, and as you study about it, when you gain understanding, it makes it easier for you to now relate to somebody. So for example, Jesus told a parable, okay, and then he spoke the parable concerning a man or a king, and then another servant of his, and then the servant was owing the king
I know that parable
exactly. You see, now when that servant left the presence of the king and then he went to another fellow man, now when the roles changed, we saw his true character and his true attitude. Okay, now when you begin to understand some of these things, it makes it easier for you to relate with people, because you get to understand that if it was me in the person's shoes, this is what I would want to be done for me. So now that it's somebody else, let me do the same thing for the other person too. Because the Bible said that the king took compassion or had compassion on the man. You only have compassion on people you can relate to. You can relate to in the situation. Because if you can't relate to the person's situation, you can never be moved with compassion to
exactly
relate.
That's true.
And most people lack that understanding because they haven't been in situations before. But then until you've been in a situation before where somebody had to do something for you, and then you get to understand all of those things. So sometimes experiences in life also help us after we have analyzed them and then we have paid attention to them. That is also very, very key and important.
AB, I want to know what might be the reason why someone might not be willing to forgive.
The reason someone, I mean, one thing that comes into my mind now is about expectations and when things don't go as you expect them to go. You know? Because we have the tendency to want to be in control and in charge of every single thing about life as humans. So when things don't go as we expect them to go, we can really become hard on ourselves. For example, I had what I call a life map growing up. So I was like, you know, at age this, I should have gotten this. At age that, I should have that.
Me too.
And trust me, a lot of things on that life map didn't go according to plan. But nonetheless, I'm still not killing myself. You know, because initially I was like, I'm not disciplined enough. I don't think I'm strong enough. I don't think I can. I think I'm lazy, and all of those bad things started kicking in. But then with time, I got to understand that, you know, some of these things help build you up instead. But then you need to focus it well. If you don't focus it well, it becomes problematic. It's like you are going to a place using a GPS route. Okay, you are like, you've punched in point A and point B. You're like, I'm going, and then accidentally you make a wrong turn. What the GPS does, that it recalculates the route. And then be like, oh, now that you are here, use this instead. And then sometimes, interesting enough, on that new route, you see new things you haven't seen before, and you get to learn new things. It's the same thing when it comes to us as human beings. You know, so sometimes don't be too hard on yourself when things don't go as you expect them to go. You have to get used to being a little disappointed. Expectation. Because sometimes it's really hard for us to accept the answer no. I don't know why.
Well,
you know, sometimes accept no and know that something better would come after it. Sometimes when you make a prayer to God, for example, and God doesn't do it, doesn't mean that God is not just or God is unfair. It just means that at this particular point in time, God is like, if I give you this right now, you won't be able to handle it. So let me wait. Or let me give you something better. Okay, for example, your 2-year-old daughter comes to you and she's like, Dad, I want a car. Would you give her?
Of course, no.
Why?
She doesn't even have a driving license.
Exactly.
And she's too young. Like,
okay, Exactly. So much in the same way. Sometimes when we ask God for something, or sometimes we want certain things, sometimes we are not really ready for what we are asking for.
Yes.
Sometimes we think we are ready, but then we are not.
We are not. That's true.
You know, because I remember I was reading a book one time, and then there was a question in the book that really got me thinking. The question was that if all the answers to your prayers were to come through today, would you be ready to handle the results?
Okay. I'm thinking now.
would you be ready?
I'm thinking about so many things now.
Like, God, I want this. If this happens, I'll be this. And then I ask myself, if you become the manager of that company today, are you sure you have the managerial skills to be able to manage people? Because managing people is a whole big deal.
Okay.
You know, but then most of us want the results, but then we don't want what comes with it. And sometimes you won't get it at a particular point in time. It doesn't mean that you are not good enough, or don't beat yourself down, but then encourage yourself. Okay, like Bible says that David encouraged himself in the Lord. So sometimes encourage yourself, and then learn more skills, learn new things. Sometimes prepare for where you are going, even though it hasn't happened yet, but then you are preparing for it. Sometimes somebody should be able to see your preparation and be able to tell your destination. Because your destination should be written all over your preparation. Okay. You see?
I see.
Exactly. So that's one of the things. So sometimes expectations can really,
guys.
You know. And the second thing I can think of is the fact that when somebody treats something that is valuable to you as though it is nothing, and you are telling them and they are still doing it.
Yeah. Okay. It's like, because I was about to ask you that, how will the person know that is important for you?
Because some people, I don't know how it works with some people. Okay. But then I'm like, Commander, I really value this thing. Don't do it. Okay. And then they are like, no. And then they keep doing it. Okay. And then I'm like, Commander, don't do it. And you are still doing it. Okay. You know? Okay. And then now I get ticked off because in my mind I'm like, I already told you that this thing was, I don't know why you are still doing it. Okay. No, and then that becomes a reason why some people hold a grudge. Okay. But then the Bible says again that as much as possible, if it is within your means, try and live at peace with all men. Yeah. So that we should keep the bond of peace and of unity. Okay. Okay. So sometimes you have to come up with ways and means to be able to cope with such situations. Sometimes you may have to leave the scene for a while. You know, sometimes you may have to take time and reprocess and reanalyze before you come face the person again. Okay, so we have expectations, and then we have when people trivialize an issue or something that is important
to you. Yes.
Yeah, so those are the two things I can think of right now. Anything comes up.
Yeah, and I was also thinking, as we were talking, I was thinking about, you know, you cannot give what you don't have. So an instance where you can't forgive yourself, so how will you be able to forgive someone? If you are not able to forgive yourself, you can't forgive another person.
Exactly. You see, the most important thing about forgiveness is that you have to learn to love yourself. Now, you do forgiveness not for the other person. You do it for you. That is why forgiveness.
Why are you reading in my mind? Because I was about to say, why is it important for me to forgive?
Are you sure you're not the one in my mind?
I don't think so.
So, forgiveness is important for you, not for the other person. Okay. You see, because you need to love. Bible says that we should love our neighbor as ourselves. Exactly. So the first person to love is me. The degree to which I love me becomes the degree to which I can love you.
I can love you, exactly.
You see?
You.
Oh yes, you. Okay, so now I forgive you because it is important for me.
Yes.
Okay, and I forgive me too because it's important for me
to
be able to move on. Okay. Because I don't want to be going along doing something and then my mind keeps telling me that I can't do it. My mind keeps beating me down. Because your mind, your body, your strength, all of those things have to be in convergence. They have to all align together for you to be able to access your full potential. Okay, because if you are doing something and then your mind is already discouraged, it becomes really difficult to pull through with it. Okay. So you need to be able to talk to yourself. Sometimes sit down and talk to yourself. You need to encourage yourself. If you see, we are so reliant and dependent on other people. That is why at the least thing we have a lot of problems. In the absence of somebody to tell you are good looking, do you tell yourself you are good looking?
I love that. I love that.
Most people don't do it.
Yes.
You see, and when nobody tells you that, most people make a withdrawal from society and from everybody else. But then we need ourselves. Understand? But then starting from needing ourselves, we need to also love ourselves too.
Exactly.
See, because it becomes something that we can share. Okay,
that's true.
And as the boys say it in Ghana, we need to be able to vibe. We need to be able to vibe together.
Okay.
You see, because you're the bab. You need to be able to vibe together. So if you're not vibing together, then we have issue. Vibing with you starts from me vibing with myself. See, because if I love myself and I give myself all of the good treats, now it becomes easy for me to do the same thing for you.
Yeah.
You know, because now when I do it for you and you appreciate it, you know, there's that satisfaction and that feeling that comes with it that words can't explain.
Yes. That's true.
So don't go too hard on yourself. Listen, develop skills, learn. Nature changes after every 3 months because we have 12 months, right? And then we have 4 seasons. So there's winter, summer, autumn, and spring. Okay. Those are the 4 major that we have. So after every 3 months, we experience a new season. Okay. So as a human being, after every 3 months, make sure that something in you improves. Something about you changes. Learn a new skill. Go eat something you've never eaten before.
I'm telling you.
Go try something. The worst that can happen is that you try it and you don't like it.
Yes.
And life is short.
Yes, I like that.
So go experience something. Go explore things about you. You see, learn to develop interest for yourself because interests make you interesting.
I love that too. You're smart too. I told you guys that he was smart.
That's it. But
don't blush.
I'm trying. You see, because it's really hard. For example, you meet somebody and then there's nothing to talk about.
I'm telling you, that's annoying.
You know, but then develop the interest. So go learn something about yourself. Go explore something about yourself you didn't even know you have. Like, I don't have any interest. I don't have any hobbies. Develop them. Try something new.
Okay.
You see, love yourself. Learn to give yourself the best. It is in doing that for yourself that you can do that for the next person. Because if you don't do it for yourself, like you rightfully said, you can't give to somebody what you don't have.
That's true.
Okay, so please learn to develop skills, soft skills. There's a lot in this world to see. There's a lot in life to learn. There are books, read books. There are skills, go learn a new skill. Learn how to cook, learn how to sew, learn how to play a musical instrument, learn how to sing, learn how to do so many things. I mean, there's so many things you can do to add value to yourself.
That's to add value to yourself.
At the end of the day, make sure you always add value to yourself.
I love that.
Okay? And do it the Christian way.
Okay. So as we are about to close, I wanted to ask and say at the same time that it might sound easy and so simple as you are talking like to people that you just have to forgive, you know, if you're doing yourself a good, a favor, and blah 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 and blah blah blah. But someone out there might be struggling with unforgiveness. Someone maybe watching this video, yes, is struggling with unforgiveness and everything that comes with bitterness and everything. So what will you tell that person? Because the objective is for someone, you know, after watching this video, the person has to receive a kind of peace of mind and heal and make a step forward to decide to forgive. So what will you tell them?
All right, so here's what I'll say. I'll take it from, and I can't speak without using scriptures. I'm sorry, but so there's a portion of scripture that says that we should speak the truth we should speak the truth to each other in love, not in love, but in love. You get what I mean?
Not in love, but in love.
Oh yes, not in love.
Yes.
Bible said that we should speak the truth. Should speak the truth to each other in love. Okay. Now, 2 things: the truth. There's truth, and then there's love. Okay. So those 2 elements need to be able to habitate or cohabitate together for us to be able to have forgiveness taking place. Now, if you have truth without love, that becomes brutality.
Truth without love is brutality. Okay.
And then if you have love without truth, that becomes hypocrisy.
Love without truth is hypocrisy.
So, for example, somebody has done something and you are trying to tell the person something, but then you don't consider the person's emotions, so you don't consider, and then you just go and blast that is brutal to the person, because you may end up damaging something in the person that we can't fix, or it will take a very long time for us to fix. Now that becomes brutality. That is truth without love. But then we have love without truth too, where someone's like, no, it's okay, I'm fine. But then you just know that the person is not fine. Now that becomes hypocrisy. Okay, so in order for us to have that atmosphere, we need both of them to be able to stay in the same place. And now that comes when you people learn to value yourself, you learn to value the other person, and then you can be like, Commander, you know, this thing you have done, I really don't like it. I would love it if next time you could do it A, B, C, D for me. And then you may be like, oh, I didn't even know that this thing was hurting you. Oh, now that you've told me, then I'm sorry. And then 90% of situations die off right there, where we don't have to go through channels. For example, where the Bible says that if somebody has offended you, go to your brother. Yeah,
go to the brother
and
first.
Show him his faults. That's what the Bible says.
Go to the brother. I love
and show him his faults.
Yeah, to him first.
It didn't say go and condemn him, because that's what most of us do when we are annoyed. We go and we try and make the other person look very stupid.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I said go and show him his fault. Said when you show him his fault, then you will win him over. See, that's how it works. But then don't go there because you are ticked off. You go there and try and reduce the other person to nothing.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Yes. The most important thing is that you should be an agent of peace.
Okay.
Okay. Because I find that usually when, for example, when I was offended, for me, I was always right. The person was always wrong.
Okay.
I always wanted the person to come apologize. And it was very funny, but I would sit down and then there's just some voice or my conscience just won't allow me, and I'm trying to go about my daily activities, and then the person's name keeps coming up. You meet somebody on the way who would want to talk about the person, and I just get ticked off by it. So try and be an agent of peace. You have to be able to learn to communicate to people. Go to the person. Okay. Learn to initiate the process if the person isn't initiating it, because for all you know, the person might not know that what they have done is offending you. Okay, but then when you go initiate the process, like I said, don't try and
bring the person down.
Exactly, demean their ego or make them
the person.
Exactly. Try and then relate with them. Talk to them. Talk to them like you would want somebody to talk to you if you were in the same shoes. That's one of the things we don't consider, because when it's okay for you to insult somebody, but then when somebody does the same thing back to you, you don't like it. Okay, so learn to think about the other person just like the way you think about yourself. Relate, talk to the person, be the agent of peace. Okay, we are agents of peace, and God first loved us even while we were yet sinners and forgave us. Okay, so if we are created in His image and likeness, much in the same way, don't always wait for the person to come say sorry, because sometimes they don't know, but then it is really affecting you and killing you. So go initiate the process, and then let the person understand that this thing is important to me. Please, next time don't do it again. It helps for both of you to even become better friends, because now the person knows something about you they didn't know before.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and then now it helps your friendship to grow, and helps both of you become better, and it makes you happy and all of those things. So sometimes you have to learn to be intentional about some of these things. Don't always sit down in and allow life to beat you down. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really love the last part, be an agent of peace.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because even the Bible tells us that we should be instrument of peace wherever we go.
Preach.
So we hope that you have been blessed, and share the video and let someone hear about it. And thank you so much, AB.
Oh, thank you to viewers for watching. Please subscribe. Subscribe.
Thank you, boss.
Commander is trying to make me feel shy. Please don't mind it. Please subscribe to the video.
Like.
Oh, like. Comment. And please, in the comments below, if it helped you. And please, if you have any questions, you can ask. He
will come in the comment section and answer.
Commander will do that.
No. Thank you so much, and thank you, Michael. He's the one behind.
Oh yes, our famous photographer. You can see him.
Yes, we can see him. Thank you so much.
For you.
So we will see you soon for another video. Bye bye.
Peace.
Commander is making you feel shy.
Oh my God, you feel that? Really? Oh my.
Really? No.
Michael Katz now.
Michael!
Oh.
Say please.
Please, are we back?
Yeah.
You're hiding. Hey, Don! The way Michael was on me.
So, testing mic 1, 2, 1, 2. Trial transmission.
Are you not part of the technical team?
No. Oh, yes. Those people, hi.
Is it not too bright? Oh, Adolphus, I miss Adolphus.
And I feel like I'm fail.
Yes, because I changed the settings. So sometimes when I change these things, that part, it becomes very bright. But then when you look at the image, it's not that clear. And Adolphus will blast at me like, "What did you do? What did you do?"
Please blast upon blast.